Please stand up. बोलो श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की जय. So the lyrics for the artis are on the right hand side of yours. If you want to follow after me, that will be great. किवा जयो जयो गोरा चंदे आरती को शोभा किवा जयो जयो गोरा चंदे आरती को शोभा आरती को शोभा जानवी चाटवने जगमन लोभा शिवदागी ने निताय बामे गदाधरा बामे गदाधरा निकाटे अद्वैता श्रीनि वस छत्रधार बाबोसी आचे गोराचन रत्ना सिंहासने आचे गोराचन रत्ना सिंहासने आरती को रे न ब्रह्मा आदिदेव गाने शिवा नर हरि आदि कोरी चमर ढुलाए संजया मुकुंदा वासु घोषदि गाय शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला
शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला मधुर मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला मधुर मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे मधुर 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 बाजे किवा बहु कोटी चंद्राजीनी वंदना उज्ज्वला झाला देसे बनमाला कोरे झलमाला शिवा शिवा सुका नारदा प्रेमे जगदा सुका प्रेमे गदा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गोरा संपादा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गोरा संपादा गौरंगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरंगे आरती शोभा जग जन मन लोभा जग जन मन लोभा जग जन मन लोभा गौरनिताय 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 जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bhaj Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachatya Deshatarine Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokul Nanda, Radha Gokul Nanda, Radha Gokul Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Radha Gokul Nanda, Radha Gokul Nanda, Radha Gokul Nanda, Shri Radhe. Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari 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 Bol.
Please sit down for the Narsinga Prema prayer.
Okay, just sit down, please. Just so Sam says. Just sit down. You can be. Jai Om Jai.
Jai Om Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Harivraj Acharya Ashtatara Shata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. This confounded Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Prem Se Prabhu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Yamuna Maya Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Devi Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki. Samaveta Bhaktavrinda Ki. Guru Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Garanga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Dayane. Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Jai Jagadish Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Narasimha Dev, Narasimha Dev, Narasimha Dev, Jaya Narasimha Dev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Nrsimhadev Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah, probably. Set up. Yeah, I think so. So maybe you can announce. We have a Bhagavad Gita class in a few minutes, so you are very welcome to stay here. I think it was a lesson for me, like to be patient, to tolerant, and you know, sometimes we don't know.
This guy put the book like this, okay? I don't need this stand. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Did we do? Whatever, I don't know, this first time I'm doing this. You think? Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jana Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Narayana, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatanisha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for being here this evening, on a Saturday evening, sparing your time to be here, to hear Krishna Katha, Bhagavad Gita. It's very nice of you, very inspiring. You all coming from far away? Far distance? Not far? Harrow, okay, nice. All of you? Where do you live? Uxbridge, oh nice. Thank you so much for being here today. So every day we read one verse of Bhagavad Gita and then we discuss on that verse. As every evening at 7:30 around this time, 7:45. So we will read the verse of the day today and then we'll discuss a little bit on that verse from Bhagavad Gita. The verse today that we have to discuss is from chapter 10 and verse number 40. Has anyone got the phones? Do you want to, you can follow on the phone as well, or I have one Bhagavad Gita if anyone wants. I have a Bhagavad Gita here as well, so you can take this. You just say, I need glasses. You okay? Okay. So before we recite the verse, we'll chant some prayers for auspiciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayamarupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adigaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesa Sanyavade Paschata Deshvani Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langate Giram Yat Kripat Mahamande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram. So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. The name of the chapter is The Opulence of the Absolute. In the verse number 40. Okay. So I will recite and then maybe you can recite after me. Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa Esha taduddeshatah prokto vibhuter vistaro maya Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa Esha tuddeshatah prokto vibhuter vistaro maya Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa Esha tuddeshatah prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. Does anyone want to recite? Srinivasma? Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa Esha tuddeshatah prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. You want to give it a try? Please try. No? Okay. Anyone else? Prabhu? Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa Eshe tuddeshata prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. Do you want to try? Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantapa Esha tuddeshata prokto vibhuter vistaro maya. So we'll read word by word translation. Na, nor. Antah, a limit. Asti, there is. Mama, my. Divyanam, of the divine. Vibhutinam, opulences. Paramtapa, O conqueror of the enemies. Eshaha, all this. Tu, but. Uddeshataha, as example. Proktaha, spoken. Vibhutehe, of opulences. Vistaraha, the expanse. Maya, by me. Translation. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Please repeat after me. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. This is Krishna speaking to Arjuna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated in the Vedic literature, although the opulences and energies of the Supreme are understood in various ways, there is no limit of such opulences. Therefore, not all the opulences and energies can be explained. Simply a few examples are being described to Arjuna to pacify his inquisitiveness. So we are towards the end of this chapter. And Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. This is 10th chapter. And on the request of Arjuna, Krishna speaks about his opulences. So what happens is the chapter before the 10th chapter is the 9th chapter. So of the 18th chapter, 9 chapters, and the last verse in the 9th chapter is the middle verse. And that's why, when we have, does anyone know what is Malai sandwich? Bengali sweets, does anyone know? No? So do you know what is sandwich? So there's sandwich, there is bread, and there's up and down. In between there is lots of stuffing. There's a Malai sandwich, is a Bengali sweet where there is rasgulla on the top, rasgulla in the middle, rasgulla at the bottom, and in between there is cream. So that's cream. So that 9th chapter is between the two sides of Bhagavad Gita, and the last verse is very, very sweet, the heart of the verses, all the verses. Yeah? And Krishna says, Manmana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam vaishaishi yuktvaevam atmanam matparayana. He speaks a seed verse. He says to Arjuna, engage your mind always in thinking of me. Man mana bhava madbhakto. Become my devotee. Yeah? Engage your mind always thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So Krishna is giving some tips to Arjuna. That you can just constantly think of me, just like Mataji is constantly chanting. Just constantly think of me. Yeah? And worship me, offer obeisance unto me, and then you will surely come to me. It sounds very simple, isn't it? For some, maybe it is simple. For some of us, really, so how can I always think of Krishna? Some can do, but some can't. So Arjuna is contemplating on that. It's in his mind that this is the instruction that Lord Krishna has given him. And he's thinking about it. And the 10th chapter starts with that. And then Krishna goes on to say about his glories, his opulences. He says, Name viduhu suragana prabhavam na maharshaya aham adirhi devana maharshinam tasya sarvashah. Neither this host of demigods are like gods and demigods. God is one Krishna, and there are lots of demigods, like Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Varuna, Agni, there's so many. And Krishna says to Arjuna, neither the host of demigods nor the great sages. Sages know a lot. They have compiled the scriptures, they speak so many things, so much wisdom. But Krishna says, none of these demigods nor of these sages children are always happy. So nice. So so none of these sages or demigods know of my origin, my opulence. And for in every respect, I am the source of all these demigods and the sages. As he says that, and then he goes on to say some more things. And then we get what we call Chatushloki Gita. Gita has got how many verses? Does anyone know? 714 verses, something like that. And then he says the 4 slokas. In those 4 slokas, everything is explained as such position of Sri Krishna. He says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. Aham sarvasya prabho. From me, everything comes, everything emanated from me, all the material and the spiritual world. I am the source of all that. Krishna is proclaiming that. And everything is coming from me. And the wise, the wise who understand this, yeah, they perfectly engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So if we understand this concept of everything is coming from Krishna, He is the source of spiritual world and the material world, that's easy. Like why are we here today? If I ask you, you're here to worship Krishna, it's glorious. So you're doing exactly what Krishna is asking you to. It's so simple. You're coming from Uxbridge, Harrow, and you've taken darshan, and you're here, or you travel. Wow, she's doing miracles. So, and obviously we got this wonderful brahmacharis are always here. So everyone is worshipping Krishna. So everyone, we're all following that. Yeah. So it's not, that's exactly as per Krishna's words. But it is interesting to know, what his opulences are. When someone says like, I own everything, can we relate to this? We have seen some millionaires, so Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, or I don't know, these days we got new millionaires, billionaires. They say something, I own this or I own that. I have a software company. Someone has some spaceships or whatever. But if Krishna is saying that everything that you see and you don't see, yes, material world we can see a little bit, we can't see everything. Spiritual world we can't see at all. We can, we hear about it and we will talk about it a little bit, but we can't see. And Krishna is saying everything comes from me. And one who understands that clearly, he will automatically, so everyone wants to please the boss, right? It's easier if you work in an environment, or it's so much easier. And when the boss particularly is very caring, very loving, sometimes it's not exactly the same, but because Krishna is also the seed-giving father of everyone, he's loving to everyone. He's got full of love. It's Prema Murti, like everyone's looking for happiness. And where do we find the most happiness? When we get love, isn't it? Love is something that we are all seeking, or we want to give love, we want to take love, except this is the currency of life, it's pretty much, Everyone's looking for it. But Krishna is prema. He's out of love, he's giving us everything. And then that's also easy. If we have a boss like that who wants to give us everything and who loves us a lot. It's so interesting to know. We come to see him, but what if he says, actually he was waiting for us to come to him? How does that sound? And he's Krishna, he's the Supreme Lord, he owns everything, and he's equally, or maybe more, looking for us to come to him as much as we want to go to. So there's so much. So it is explained by the sages that love, so there are some of your mothers here. So mother's love is like a drop in the ocean of love that Krishna has for us. Those who are mothers can relate to it more. Like mothers can do anything for their children, so much sacrifice. But when the Krishna's love is like ocean as compared to mother's love for a drop, we can't even understand this. But this is so much love that Krishna has for us, and he's so much, looking forward for us to see him. And then say, what happens when someone is loving, and then Machita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. He says, once these Buddhas, intelligent people, intelligence is to reciprocate. Thank you. Intelligence is to reciprocate with someone who loves us beyond comparison. It's intelligence, isn't it? It's very simple intelligence. Someone's loving us, and he owns everything, and he wants to, you know, Hare Krishna. Oh. So, and those intelligent people, they're pure devotees, and they desire great satisfaction in talking about him. It's interesting. When you talk about Krishna, we get so much happiness. Where does it come from? It's inconceivable. When we talk about Krishna, we get happiness. When we hear about Krishna attentively, we get happiness. When we honor prasad that Krishna has tasted, we get happiness. Yeah? And we see Krishna's devotees, we see happy. They are all happy, and we become happy just looking at the Krishna's devotees. To what to see, say of when we look at Krishna's beautiful form, it's full of beauty. So much happiness is there. And once the devotees do that, when they constantly talk about Krishna, they discuss among themselves, then what happens is, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. When these devotees are discussing among themselves constantly, and then what happens is, they derive great satisfaction among themselves, then I give them the intelligence so that they come to me. So Krishna is very personal. He is within our heart. He is within and without. He is very personal. He says, oh, these devotees of mine are talking about me and they feel happy about me. I should give them some intelligence that they come to me. Intelligence is all about, isn't it? Intelligence means, a simple meaning of intelligence is able to discriminate between what's right and wrong, isn't it? And the spiritual intelligence is to be able to differentiate between matter and spirit, is the spiritual intelligence. And Krishna gives that spiritual intelligence through which then we can, go to him. Once we go there, madgatva nivartante tad dhama paramam. Once we are there, it's all full of bliss, full of joy. Hare Krishna, thank you. And even if there is something left over here and there, sometimes, because the spiritual world is full of spiritual beings who are perfect. The material life brings some impurity because of the modes of material nature. So we are all within the three modes, goodness or passion or ignorance. That brings some impurities. So that impurity also Krishna gives a promise. Tesham eva manukampartham aham ajnana jam tamah nashamyatma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvata. Whatever left, impurity left within their hearts, I also clear all that. Sitting within their hearts, I clear all that impurities. So there is no obstacle. So, and then Arjun becomes so excited when he hears this. I've heard this many times, and I must say I'm not as excited, but obviously Arjun gets excited. He starts to know, the relationship until now that Arjun have with Krishna is mostly as a guru and disciple, because in the beginning of the second chapter he says that, yes, because what does he say? Yeah, that becomes a disciple. Shadi mam tam papannam. I have surrendered unto you, and you please give me knowledge, because I'm confused. Dharma samudha cheta. I don't know what is the right dharma, fight or not fight, shoot or not shoot, what should I do? I'm completely lost. So I just take your shelter, and you tell me, Krishna, what I should do. Now, after all these, different explanations that Krishna has given him, and now Krishna is telling him he's the source of everything, and he can give the intelligence so that, anyone can come to him. Arjun loves Krishna. They say, wow, this is so fantastic. Then he starts to, he gets into ecstasy and say, Arjuna uvacha param brahma param dhama pavitram paramam bhavan purusham shashvatam divyam adi devam ajam vibhum ahuswam rishaya sarve devarishir nadaratstatha asito devalo vyasa swayam chaiva praviti me. says, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. How many times Param, Param, Param? You are the highest. You're the top. He says what? Param Brahma, you're the super soul, supreme personality, ultimate abode, Param Dhama, purest, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Bhavan is you are that. And now he says, he wants to know more. Then he goes on to say, I totally accept whatever you said. All the other rishis, Narad, Asita, Devala, all these great sages are saying the same. Now you yourself is saying from your own mouth, you're saying that. This is so amazing. Yeah? Then he says, he presents a doubt. He says, Krishna, now please tell me, Katham vidyam aham yogims tvam sada parichintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintayosi bhagavan maya. He puts 3 questions in front of Krishna. He says, oh my Lord, now I really want to be with you. Tell me, how can I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered? So he presents a doubt, like, okay, you're saying that, those my devotees always think of me, they always talk about me, and I want you are the supreme most, you're the purest, I want to come to you. And everyone has explained that, I agree with that. But now tell me, how can I just remember you all the time? And then Krishna is, giving all the different opulences. And we read through that. I don't know, have you been attending every day? Isn't it? So it's just a repeat for you. I don't know how many of you have been. You've been, Mataji? Okay. So we'll not go through the opulences, but he goes through lots of opulences. But some examples are like, he says, I am the Himalayas amongst immovable. Himalaya, has anyone seen Himalayas? Has anyone been to Himalaya? No? All we know is, I haven't been either, is huge. And how big is it? There's the story of a little frog. He's in a well, and somehow there's another frog who happens to see in the ocean a little bit. He happens to drop in that same well and says, he says, oh, I'm here now. This is small. And there's one frog who has always lived in the well, and he says, where are you coming from? He says, I've seen the ocean. Oh, how big is it? It's very big. How big? And then that's, frog from the ocean says, 2 times bigger than this well? No, bigger. How big? 5 times bigger than the ocean? This well? No, even bigger. Say 10 times bigger than the well? I said, no, it's bigger. We can't perceive. Like, how big is it? Similarly, we can't, we've seen some buildings here and there, maybe 80 feet, 100 feet, 200 feet. I think Burj Khalifa is 800. My son likes to, he likes to go tall buildings. Little boys always want to do that. And we went to Dubai, and he did all this homework as how tall, which are the tallest building in the world. Saying 838 meters is Burj Khalifa. It's quite tall. Himalayas devotees is 8,848 meters. That's something. And there are many, like Mount Everest is the highest. There are many other peaks like that, all 8,000 meters plus that. That's just to give an indication of, how great is Krishna. So Krishna explains all the different opulences, whatever good, whatever the best, not just good. So whatever best we see in the world outside, you should think of me. Whatever is the best you come across, so the Ganges is a big river, so he's a river, the Ganges. Then he says, I'm the Arjuna amongst the Pandavas. When he starts to say amongst the Pandavas, Arjuna is thinking, wow, who's going to speak? Yudhishthira or Bhima? He says, no, I'm the Arjuna amongst the Pandavas. So whoever is the best is Krishna. So he is the best. So wherever we see something great, that should remind us of Krishna. That's the little bit of the verse that we are reading today is what? It says, there is no end to my divine manifestations or my opulences. I can't speak everything. So I'll give you another story. So what happens once is, Lord Brahma is also called the creator, isn't it? So Lord Brahma is the creator. So Krishna is the primary creator and Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. Yeah? This is how, just like, we say, what came first, the seed or the tree? Like that, isn't this so much common to ask this question, what came first, the seed or the tree? So what it is really, to say in simple words, Krishna is the seed-giving father of every living entity. It could be anything, anyone that is existing. And he pervades into every atom. There is Krishna. Consciousness. Wherever there is consciousness, there is Atma. And wherever there is Atma, wherever there is soul, there is super soul. Krishna accompanies every living entity in any form, all forms, to guide the living entity how to live in that particular body. It could be it could be anything. It could be lion, elephant, tiger, snail, ant, human, dog, whatever the living entity, has a form. Krishna is accompanying that living entity to guide as to how to live in that body. Because why does the living entity get these different bodies? There's a soul. The size of the soul is what? 10,000 of the tip of a hair. That's the size of a soul. That's inconceivable to even think of how big or small is that. And Krishna, and that soul, the same soul is in varieties of these, living entities, whether small, big dinosaurs or elephants or mouse or rat. Everything is all living into moving. The soul is that consciousness within those different bodies. So why do the soul get different bodies? Because they desire. Everything happens because of our desires. Nothing happens as an accident. There are no accidents in this world. Everything happens because we desired or we deserved. Both works together. Because I desired, for example, to have a big body, a very strong body, and people, keep away from me, this and that. If I meditate on that, there's a pretty good chance that in some lifetime I can become an elephant, because that's my desire. Krishna is there within our heart. He never forgets. We forget, but he never forgets. He's always with us, witnessing, what we do, what we desire for, and he remembers to give us what we ask for, because he is there. He's the most loving father. Just like a father always gives whatever toy child wants, this Lego, this toy, that toy, father gives that. Similarly, Krishna gives us what we desire for. Yeah. So I lost the track of. Yeah. So I was going to say a story. So Krishna is with everyone, and what happens one time is, Lord Brahma is I was saying about the creator. Yeah. So Krishna is the seed-giving father, and Brahma is the secondary creator who gives that form. So the seed is planted in the soil, and within the same seed, sometimes you get a fruit tree, sometimes you get a flower tree, sometimes you get a vegetable, sometimes you get a large coconut tree, or whatever, plants, shrubs, everything. But the seeds are small. Similarly, the seeds of the different living entities are also like that. But Brahma gives that. Secondary creation is from the seed, what manifests, what we see, is given by Lord Brahma. So that's the secondary creation. So Lord Brahma is the creator. He is creating the universe. One time Lord Brahma happens to visit Dwaraka. So Krishna has 3 places where he resides. He resides in Vrindavan, resides in Mathura, resides in Dwaraka. Anyone been to these places? Anyone? Mathura, Vrindavan? Yeah, no? You been there? So Krishna is there always. So in Dwaraka, Krishna used to live with his queens. Anyone knows how many queens Krishna had? 16,108 queens. And that's something, isn't it? 16,000, how many, some people have, I don't know, in the Middle East, some people can have 4 wives or 8 wives or how many? 16,108 wives. And he was able to keep every wife happy. how many, to that's a lot of. And you know how much opulent was Dwarka? For every wife there was a palace. 16,108 palaces Krishna had. And Krishna would expand himself so that he is with every wife every day. It's not that, okay, 16,000, we can, with our limitation, we can say, how did he manage to give time to, how could he keep everyone happy? He could, because that's Krishna. He would expand himself, the same Krishna, with every wife, with the children. And then Krishna had with each wife 10 sons and 1 daughter. So he had 10 sons from each wife. So he has 16,000 times 10. How much is that? 161,000, something like that, sons. And every son, by the time they were grown up, they were all married. They had their own children. Like Krishna had a wife, Rukmini. Rukmini's son was Pradyumna. Pradyumna's son was Aniruddha. They all married. And they all had their own palaces. And they all also had 10 children each. So that is Dwaraka. Okay? The Dwaraka's opulence is, there are millions and millions of palaces within Dwarka. So, Brahmaji happens to visit Dwarka, and he wants to have a discussion. So he goes to the door, to the gate, and the gatekeeper asks, "Who are you?" And the gatekeeper does not know. He sees, wow, someone with 4 heads. That's interesting. He's come there, and Brahmaji says, "I want to see Krishna, and I'm Brahma." And the gatekeeper says, "Okay, so I'm going to go to Krishna." He goes to Krishna and says, "There is someone on the door who wants to see you." That's normal. The people with, it's not. I've not seen many people with the gatekeepers here, but in India it's common. I mean, in a sense, some common, not a lot common. So the gatekeeper goes to Krishna and says, "There is someone to see you," and he says he's Brahma. And Krishna says, "Ask him which Brahma." And the gatekeeper goes and asks him, "So Krishna is asking you, which Brahma are you?" And Brahma is now puzzled, like, "Which Brahma? What is this question?" He says, "Okay, well, Krishna is asking the question, so I have to answer the question. Okay, so maybe I want to introduce myself properly." He says, "Okay, I am Brahma, the 4-headed Brahma, creator of this universe, and the father of 4 Kumaras." 4 Kumaras are the 4, the very famous 4 young sages. They always remained like boys, young boys, very learned 4 Kumaras. So I am the father of 4 Kumaras and the 4-head. So the gatekeeper goes back and says to Krishna, "Krishna, this is Brahma," and he says he's the 4-headed Brahma and he's the creator and he's the father of 4 Kumaras. He says, "Okay, call him in." So Brahmaji goes to Krishna and says, sits there. So Brahmaji, then Krishna, then Brahmaji, as he would do, he goes to Krishna and he says lots of prayers and offer obeisances, and Krishna in response also speaks some nice words. Like someone come to our house, we greet them. So Krishna greets them nicely, and then he says, "So Brahmaji, why have you come here today? How can I help?" Someone comes to, "How can I help?" And Krishna asks, "So why are you here?" Brahmaji says, "I'll tell you that later. Why am I here? But something is really puzzling me and my mind doesn't work. Like you asked the question, which Brahma?" Have you heard of the story? He said, "Which Brahma? Why did you ask this question, which Brahma?" What is this question? I can't understand. What is the purpose of asking this question, which Brahma? Does it mean that there are other Brahmas? He can't ask this, but he's puzzled. He can't see any other Brahma. He's never seen. So there are, how Brahma appears. He appears from the Garbhodakshaya. There are 3 Purusha avatars of Krishna. They manifest for the purpose of creation. There is Mahavishnu, from whose spores all the universes are manifesting constantly. With every breath that he takes from his spores, comes the universes. Every universe has its own Brahma. And within every universe, then Lord, once again, Mahavishnu expands himself to become Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And he enters at there, and then from his navel comes Lord Brahma. And Brahma then creates the universes, and then again Krishna or Vishnu expands himself into Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. And he enters into every atom, every soul, every living entity and brings it to life. This is a short version. So this is how the creation happens. So when Brahmaji asked this question, why did you ask which Brahma is puzzling me, my Lord? Please explain to me. What is this question about? Then Krishna meditates a little bit. And as he's meditating, what he's doing is he's calling all the different Brahmas from all the universes. And then what happens is, in that Dwaraka, there are Brahmas coming who has got 8 heads. Our Brahma has got 4 heads. So there's Brahma who's got 8 heads. There's another Brahma who's got 20 heads, 40 heads, 80 heads, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, millions of heads. Can we understand these things? It's inconceivable. But they all appear. And they appear, and then Lord Shiva comes. Every Rudra comes. Yeah? And the Indras come. Indras, they have eyes all over their body. There's a pastime about that as well. That's another day. And they all appear. All the Indras appear, all the Shivas appear, Rudras appear, and Brahmas appear. And they have got their helmets, they are very opulent, and they offer their obeisances. As they offer the obeisances, there are so many of them, the helmets start to bang each other. A sound coming from there. And the interesting thing is, this Brahmaji of our universe, the 4-headed Brahma, he's watching all this. But those Brahmas and Shiva, they can't see each other. This is Krishna's inconceivable potency, Maya. They can't see each other. They can only see themselves. And they can see that Krishna has called them. And when they offer obeisances, the helmets bang each other, there's large sound coming, and with the sound itself, there's prayers coming. Because Brahmaji's body is made of? What is made of? Brahmaji's body? Made of intelligence. Right? We are here in this material world, we are made of 5 elements. Panchabhuta, earth, fire, water, air, either. And there is mind, intelligence, and false ego. Brahmaji's body is made of pure intelligence. This is again inconceivable, but there are, when we had recently we had a volcano, and the scientists found some insects coming out of the volcano. They had the body of fire, body made of fire. They were alive, they were conscious. This is recent. That means we have 5 elements, gross elements, but there could be other planets, there are living entities which only 1 element, 2 element, 3 element, all sorts of the fish can only be in the water, they can't be outside, all inconceivable things. So these Brahmas, they appear and they start to offer, and they say, my Lord, we are so fortunate to have taken darshan of you. We feel so fortunate that you invited us. Please tell us, what can we do for you? How can we serve you? Krishna says, oh no, I just called you to just see you all together. And I was just wondering, is everything all right? And the Brahma says, yes, my Lord, everything by your grace is all right. Everything is in order. All the demons that are on this planet Earth, you've already destroyed all of them. And everything is in order. We've been victorious everywhere. So by your mercy, we are all happy. Krishna says, okay, I just wanted to check that you're all happy. And then they offer obeisance again, and they leave. And now Brahmaji is there, and he's just completely puzzled. He says, what can I say now? I thought I was the Brahma, There's so many Brahmas, with so many heads, there's so many universe. Then Krishna explains him how, what is the material world. This material world is only 1/4 of total creation of Krishna. 3/4 creation is spiritual world. So we are only like, of that 1/4, we are that tiny bits, here going around. There's a pastime with Prabhupada, one of his disciples, Prabhupada wanted to, give him a little lesson, sometimes happens. So he says to this devotee, is to say is, because of this talk about greatness, we sometimes feel, I'm great, I know a lot, I can do a lot, I'm very great. He says, when I was in the plane, as the plane took off, what I saw is the buildings which looking big, they started to look small. When we fly, what happens? As we fly up and up and up, we see the buildings, the houses become like teeny, small. All the big buildings, tall buildings, Burj Khalifa, or whatever the London tall buildings, they all start to look small. As we go up and up and up, everything becomes like teeny, bits. As Prabhupada said, so what happens? As we go up, what we see is there is a big place, big state called some state in Washington state, maybe in US. Yeah, and I go up, I see the earth, and it can be seen if you go in the spaceships. And all that, and then within that big state, I see there is a city, Seattle, for example. Some cities there. And within the Seattle city, there is a lane. And within that lane, there are many buildings. With the many buildings, there is this one building. Within the building, there are many people living, of which there is one little this devotee living. I think he is great. And how do you understand this? So if we go up, then we understand, what are we? But within ourselves, because of the false ego that we carry within our, we say, the world revolves around me. I feel that a lot of time. I'm the center of the world. I don't know. Somehow, this is the magic of Krishna's Maya, that we always think like that. Or sometimes we think like that. But most of the time we get humbled as well. So Brahmaji is puzzled. He says, my Lord, all this time I was thinking, but now I know what your opulence is. Now Krishna explains, this is what I have shown you. All these Brahmas, they're all only 1/4. There is 3/4, which is spiritual world. So there is spiritual world where, no, wait, I don't know. What time I'm supposed to finish? 7:30. Okay, it's already 7:30. So, I'll come to the point now. It's really time. I know some of you probably enough. But now, the question that I have for all of you is, obviously you're all here, we're talking about Krishna and you're still here, survived. It's not because I'm speaking, it's because you love Krishna. Can I ask you, why do you love Krishna? Is this because the opulence that just I described you, is that the reason you love Krishna? Is that why you're here? Or something else is there that you would like to share? And we'll finish the class there. Please share why. What is that you like in Krishna? He reciprocates everyone. Fantastic, such a beautiful answer. Any other answer? Any other answer, Matas? Mata? Love he gives to us. Inconceivable. Because of the love. Unconditional love. Yeah.
But Lord Krishna's love is pouring down every day on us, every second, and we're so blind we're not seeing it. But when you chant the Maha Mantra and you have awareness, you will see and feel His love,
Experience.
and you will experience happiness and bliss day and night.
You don't want to stop chanting.
In the morning you will wake up and dance like me.
Jai, Jai, so
That
nice.
means happiness and bliss.
So it seems it is not because of Krishna, not because Krishna owns the whole material world or spiritual world. It's not because of his opulence. It is because of his sweetness. Because Krishna is sweet. That's why we like Krishna. Krishna is so sweet. All his pastimes are sweet. And where is, Krishna is in Vrindavan, Krishna is in Mathura, and Krishna is in Dwarka. Where is he the most sweet or the sweetest? Vrindavan. Does everyone agree that Krishna has pastimes with his friends, with the gopis, with his friends, with his mother, with his father, the whole village, with the cows, with the bulls, calves, everyone, Krishna is having sweet pastimes. So Krishna, when he has his opulence, that's his Narayan form. He's extended, that's his Narayan form. Krishna expands himself into Narayan. And Narayan form, they all live in Vishnu Loka. And Krishna, with his sweetness, he remains as Krishna. So Krishna has 64 qualities that anyone can possibly have. And Narayan has 60 qualities. The 4 qualities, as Rupa Goswami explains, which Krishna has, even Lord Narayan doesn't have. What are those 4 qualities? Krishna plays flute. His flute is very sweet. His pastimes are very sweet. His pastimes, Lord Narayan doesn't have pastimes like Krishna has pastimes. Lord Narayan doesn't play flute. Lord Narayan doesn't have his gopi friends. Yeah? And which is the 4th one? So his flute and his beauty is the 4th one. Krishna is the most beautiful living that we can see when we see Krishna. So beautiful. We can't wear them. Someone say Krishna wears sometimes yellow dhoti, orange dhoti. Can you imagine any normal living entity, living person, a man wears a yellow dhoti like that, walks on the street, he will be a joker. But Krishna can carry all. He's so beautiful that only Krishna can carry that. He's the most beautiful. Krishna is in most beautiful form. He is in Vraj. Yeah, and Vraj is most sweetest. Chinta mani prakarasadma shukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhir abhipalayantam lakshmi sahasra satasambhrama sevyamanam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Very famous was Chintamani Prakarasadma Shukalpa Vriksha. Chintamani is what? Touchstones. Chintamani Prakarasad. This is Lord Brahma speaking, Brahma Samhita. Like every sand particle in Vrindavan is Chintamani stone, touchstone. The whole of Braj is full of Chintamani stones. Chintamani prakarasadma shakalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhir abhipalayantam. There are millions and millions of cows. There is Krishna, Mahaprabhu explains this in Chaitanya Charitamrita. There is no count of how many. I'm just going over time. I had so much to say. You're okay? Yeah? Sorry, but if anyone wants to go, please go on. I'll just keep on speaking anyway. If anyone wants to do kirtan, then we can. You okay? Yeah? So, there is every sand particle, every thing is touchstone. There are millions and millions of cows. There's no count of Krishna's friends. Mahaprabhu explains that Krishna has the infinite number of friends. How many? So, what is the infinite number? If there are 19 zeros, someone was saying this to me. After one, there are 19 zeros, that makes it infinite. And Krishna has the infinite number of his gopas friends. Every day they go out to the forest to herd the cows and calves. You know how big is Vraj Dham? 84 kos. 84 kos yatra. We do like parikrama as well. 84 kos yatra, that's Braj. And Krishna, by his inconceivable potency, brings The whole of material world and spiritual world within the 84 course, 84 course. And there are all these infinite number of gopas. Every gopa has infinite number of cows. They're all there. So, Chintamani prakrasad mashukalpa vriksha laksha vritechu surabhi. Surabhi is the cow. Surabhi. Abhipalayantam. He's looking after all these infinite number of cows Krishna has. And then what it says? Laksha vritechu surabhi. Abhipalayantam. Lakshmi sahasra satasambhrama sevyamanam. Lakshmi sahasra means there are thousands and thousands of all the gopis. Krishna's damsel friends, they're always serving Krishna in various, they're very expert. And they know how to place Krishna. And they're always there. So this is Vrindavan Dham. There was a pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was a sweet exchange going on between two of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, Swarup Damodar and Srivas Pandit. Srivas Pandit start to tease Swarup Damodar. Swarup Damodar is a sannyasi, he's very learned. He can sing very nicely, he's very learned. And he's in the Braj mood. And Srivas Pandit is the incarnation of Narada Muni. He likes to tease. So he teases Swarup Damodar, saying, I think Lakshmi ji is greater. My Lakshmi, he says, my Lakshmi, Mother Lakshmi is very great. She's very opulent. Then Swarup Damodar says this, repeats the Chintam. How can you say this? My Vrindavan, my Braj is most beautiful. There is Krishna is the controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anahadi Radhir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Ishvara means controller. Yeah? He's the controller. He's controlling everything through his Maya potencies. Everyone is controlled. We're not free. Nobody is free. But Vrindavan, one who is controlling everyone, he gets controlled by the love of his devotees. This is Vrindavan Dham. So because there's so much sweetness, someone has the daring to ride on Krishna's shoulder. Someone is, taking away his food. Someone is teasing him. Someone, and they don't. And Krishna loves all that. When Krishna was lifted Govardhan, there were all these Gopa friends were putting the stick as well and saying, it's not just you lifting with your little finger, we are also helping you with the sticks. This only happens in Vrindavan. It cannot happen here. It can only happen in Vrindavan, right? And where Krishna is controlling everyone, Krishna is controlled by the love of his devotees. So Krishna's sweetness is much more sweeter, much more likable than his opulence. That's why devotees love Krishna, because of his sweetness. Thank you so much for tolerating me. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Oh, thank you. I think this belongs to here only. Oh, yeah. This is mine. Thank you. Huh? Oh. What's your name? Shruti. Hare Krishna. Nice to meet you. Hare Krishna.